So that brings me to a really quick tip about writing your essays and doing your papers. A few of you forgot to put citations. A few of you forgot to put your sources at the end of your essays. So remember, this is academic writing, and you need to give credit to the author. Anything that is a specific idea that you did not think of. Again, if it's a general idea that is already out there, then you're fine. But if this is a specific phrase or idea or a direct quote, even if it's an indirect one, but if it's specific to what the author is saying, then you need to cite it. So make sure you check your APA manual. You can also find information online about that. I also have a ton of tips in the end of my syllabus, just reminding you about the APA process and how to cite things correctly. So don't lose points, and also don't have a plagiarized paper because you did not give credit. It's not enough to put the author's information at the bottom and not mention anything in the text about where you're drawing from. So you need to at least introduce the author of what you're citing and cite it correctly. So if there's any questions about that, please let me know. I'm not looking for a paper that has 20, 30 citations in it. These are not necessarily specifically research-oriented papers, but again, you need to give credit where credit is due. So a way that I like to phrase it is that you want to write and answer the questions based on what is asked in the assignment. So it should be your own words, and then you use the text to support your ideas of what you're trying to get across. And it's not the other way around where you're doing a book report and then you're using your ideas to help enhance the text. So that, again, these are your answers, but the text is going to be relevant because it's going to help support your answer specifically on some of these essays where they ask you specific questions related to the text. So I think for this week it was on chapter 6. So again, you read chapter 6, highlight, underline some things there, answer the questions to the best of your ability, but use chapter 6 to help you answer those questions. So hopefully you can work through some of those things. I know for some of you the first couple of papers were rough. There's some of you who nailed them, got 100%, but a few of you were struggling with the citations and referencing and stuff. So please make sure that you correct that for the future. And then I also just wanted to talk briefly on the curriculum design worksheet that's due. So this all goes back to the training and development presentation that you're going to be doing and turning in at the end of class. Again, these are the different little steps, which is, I really like how Wilmington set this up, because a lot of times when you're doing a big project, if you're like me, then you'll wait till the last week to try to put it all together, and maybe some of you, maybe the last day or two. This way, the way that they have it structured is you're actually working on this project every week as you start building it and putting it together. So last week, hopefully that was helpful for you to start thinking about your topic, and I'm approving those right now as we speak. Most of those looked really good. This next part here is giving you a curriculum design worksheet to help you look at some of the questions that you should be answering as you're coming up with this training. So I have here, I printed off answering the 7 essential training questions. This is something that you're supposed to have read. There's a sentence here that I think is really important. It says, too often training professionals present projects to management by stating what the participants or employees will learn, which obviously you want them to learn something. However, they state that rather than how the business will benefit from what they learned. So when you're presenting this to somebody and saying, hey, I would like this opportunity to train folks on this certain idea, you don't want to just come in and say, okay, well, this is what they're going to learn, but more, how is it applicable to the business? How is the business going to grow from this? So these are some of the really good questions that you're going to want to ask yourself as you're trying to put this presentation together. Again, is there really a need for a training? Do all employees need training? What are the expected outcomes? How will the training move us closer to our goals, etc.? So sometimes when we want to go put together things, we start thinking, okay, well, what are my interests? What do I want to talk about, especially in leadership? And again, that's what my doctorate's in. So when I'm going out and consulting with an organization, when I talk to leaders and CEOs, it's not about necessarily what they're interested in or what they want to present or train on, but it's more of what are the needs of the employers. I mean, the employees. What are the needs of the company? What is the company going to get out of this? What are the people going to get out of this? And then if you can work from that perspective, you're going to be able to put together a presentation that is a lot more beneficial to those employees and to the organization as a whole. I've been to tons of trainings where you sit down and you're like, wow, I learned something, but it was not applicable to anything that I was doing. And there was no takeaways, there was no action steps that I could do to actually put that learning into practice. So hopefully that makes sense. All this pre-plan is helping you do that. And so we have this curriculum design worksheet that I hope most of you have already filled out a while. But you're going to be looking at the general theme or topic. What are your learning objectives? What are your outcomes? For those of you that are not 100% certain about the objectives and outcomes, remember, go back to week 2, and you can also Google some things on that. But if you don't have outcomes of what you're trying to measure, there's no way then you can evaluate how well you were, how well you presented, or if it was an effective presentation. So for those of you who have gone to seminars, at the end of the seminar they usually give you a form and say, can you evaluate this for us? How effective was this? What did you learn? And so every good presenter will have actual objectives that they can then use to look at the evaluation and look if they got their point across at all. In a lot of classes that I teach, sometimes I do that as well. I have them fill out forms to say, what did they know about leadership before the class, so it's almost like a pre and a post test. And so I want to make sure that my objectives worked and students were able to learn the concepts that I was hoping that they learned. And there's a couple other here about a summary of participant activities, resources, and then we just talked about assessment that's on here, and then evaluation of the training. So as you can start, hopefully you're starting to see right now that this is a major project and you need to put your best foot forward in doing this, and be thinking about all the ins and outs of how you're going to be doing this presentation. What I don't want to see, because we have all these planning steps every week, is for you kind of just to throw something together last minute and your training is not meaningful, it doesn't make sense, it doesn't have any learning objectives, because then that's just a waste of your time. And then it's also, if we're actually giving this presentation, it's a waste of your employees' time and the people who work with you, because we want to, again, make training meaningful. We want to make the development process meaningful. One of the things that I like to think of when I'm talking about this issue is, for those of you who have ever watched The Office, the TV sitcom The Office, a lot of the meetings that Michael Scott will have in the break room or in the office room, I guess they call it the conference room, they're not meaningful at all. He doesn't have any objectives. He doesn't have any reason why the people are in there other than his own personal reasons, which don't relate to the business, don't relate to the people, and usually those employees are Thunder Mifflin, or bored out of their minds, or frustrated, or don't have any takeaways. So if you haven't seen it, you can check out some videos on YouTube and you'll get my drift of a really bad example of doing training and development. So I think that's all I wanted to talk about today. I also wanted to say that my thoughts and prayers are with everyone. I know that during election season, emotions are high, and I'm sure there's a lot of you who are really excited and pumped at the new direction that the country is going. There's a lot of you who are hurt and fearful about the new direction that the country is going. And so I just wanted to share with you that I'm thinking of you, and I hope that the feelings that you're having right now are not necessarily affecting your work in the classroom, but if it is, please let me know. We can chat about that further. I also have, I just wanted to mention that there is a questionnaire that you're more than welcome to fill out if you want, but there also will be a full evaluation at the end of the class. But I really thank you all for your efforts so far. For those of you who are not doing as well in the class, don't freak out. Usually it's, you have to get used to the material. This is a class that most of you have not taken. You got to get used to the way that the instructor teaches. You got to get used to the assignments. So some of these assignments might be different and unique to you as well. So hang in there. For most of you, I definitely see the opportunity to pick up your grades. I probably also will look at adding an extra credit assignment as well. And for those of you who really want to rework papers, you can always email me. Sometimes the answer is yes, sometimes the answer is no. It just depends on the situation. And for those of you who have outstanding assignments, remember to get those in, because even 50% credit is better than a 0. So again, have a wonderful weekend, and I will be posting very briefly about an opportunity this weekend for me to answer additional questions if you have them. So blessings.